Let's hear it once again for Mr. Michael Anisette. And let's thank him again for not calling any names of who he's suggesting is bright and who is not bright. Any guesses? You all behave yourself, don't call no name, please. I'm going to have many papers tomorrow. And Mr. Anisette made a point. Well done. I think he sold about 300 books just now there, wouldn't you say? I hope you're getting a good commission. He mentioned something that resonated with me, and I thought about it earlier on with Mr. Roger also, and it's the issue of social justice and the importance of these publications in understanding what would lead to social justice in a real sense. And, I hope this isn't taken as controversial, but something came to be, so I went on the ultimate Google, and it relates to social justice in a figurative way. And before we go to our next speaker, I'll just quote, because I'm using it in a figurative way. Please understand that, because I know people could take it literally and end up on the front page of the papers tomorrow in trouble. And it is, to me, profound in terms of the writing of this Caribbean philosopher. And it goes, until the philosophy which holds one race superior to another and another inferior is finally and permanently discredited and abandoned, everywhere is war. And until, and this is the profound part, they are no longer first-class and second-class citizens of any nation, and until the color of a man's skin is of no more significance than, me say, war. I thought that was so apropos. Our next speaker is one of Her Honour's colleagues. Let's welcome Judge of the Industrial Court, His Honour, Mr. Melvin Daniel.
Thank you, Master of Ceremony. Her Honour Deborah Thomas-Felix, President of the Industrial Court of Trinidad and Tobago. His Honour Mr. Herbert Soverall, Vice President of the Industrial Court of Trinidad and Tobago. His Honour Mr. Lawrence Achong, Chairman of the Industrial Court of Trinidad and Tobago. My brother, His Honour Mr. Morton Mitchell, Judge of the Industrial Court of Trinidad and Tobago. Ms. Anne Henry, Queen's Counsel, Member of the Regional Judicial Legal Service Commission of the Caribbean Court of Justice. Mr. Kiran Singh, President of the Greater San Fernando Area Chamber of Commerce. Heads of the members of the trade unions. Heads of members of Employers Association. Practitioners of the Industrial Court. Specially invited guests, members of the media. Good afternoon, or good evening. First, I want to thank the goodly President for giving me this opportunity to say a few words on a seminal book. To this end, the theme of my presentation today is the nuts and bolts of progressive discipline and maternity protection in the world of work today. The famous American novelist William Gibson states, "The future is already here. It's just not evenly distributed." Few among us will dispute this proposition, more so in the context of the still impacting effects of COVID-19 and the many social and economic upheavals that besiege the world today. The workplace is not immune to the fallout from these challenges, and perhaps William Gibson's statement echoes even more loudly in the world of work today. To this end, the seminal work completed by Her Honour Ms. Deborah Thomas-Felix is not only timely, but is an essential roadmap to navigate our way through the many fallouts of the current economic and social upheavals we face in the world today. The title itself is noteworthy: Labor Law and Good Industrial Relations, Progressive Discipline and Maternity Protection in the Workplace. The book provides comprehensive insight into two critical and indispensable components in the wheel of any successful workplace: These are progressive discipline and maternity protection. In my respectful view, they are the nuts and bolts to better understand and achieve the goals of a fair and just workplace in our society. As noted before, the impact of COVID-19 and existing economic, social, and political dynamics have underscored the need for greater understanding of the core principles of good industrial relation practice, if only to avoid the pitfalls of unfairness and hardship at the workplace. To this end, a most invaluable source of information, guidance, and I dare say precedent of the proper practice of good industrial relation is found in the Honour book, which we are here to launch today. The book focuses on two topical and relevant areas in our workplace today, namely progressive discipline and maternity protection. I'll first deal with progressive discipline. It begs the question, what is progressive discipline? And more importantly, what guidelines Her Honour provided for us? Progressive discipline is a method of discipline that uses graduate steps of dealing with problems related to an employee's conduct or performance. The ultimate objective of progressive discipline is to help employees resolve work performance issues in the earlier stages. Before I highlight some critical guidelines provided by the book, I wish to emphasize the ease and I dare say the simplicity of writing. An idea, in my respectful view, I refer to it as gifted writing, which would endear even the man in the maxi or taxi, or as we would say in law, the man on the omnibus, who will read and appreciate the finer points of it. So it need not be an intellectual to appreciate the writings of the dear president. The book commences by operationalizing what is progressive discipline. It does this by referencing her earlier book, interestingly, namely Labor Law in the Commonwealth Caribbean, the Practice of Good Industrial Relation in the 21st Century, which I hope all of you have. Where I quote, she stated, "This process, which is called progressive discipline, provides an employee with the opportunity to change behaviors and for the business to maintain standards of performance and conduct," unquote. This definition places in context the critical role of progressive discipline in the day-to-day operation of a workplace. The author then carefully, and I dare say painstakingly, guides the reader through the hierarchical nature of progressive discipline, from verbal warning to the ultimate punishment. So one would appreciate the different stages of verbal warning, written warning, suspension, and ultimately, if need be, dismissal. While guiding us through this process, Her Honour provided us with an invaluable treasure chest of relevant cases for each step in the process. The learned author also explored disciplinary codes containing collective agreements and advised on how they ought to be treated. I found it quite instructive, if I may say so, that the author also focused on an area often overlooked, namely that of service commission. Indeed, while noting that they have their peculiar disciplinary rules and regulations, she emphasized the importance of the universal rules of natural justice prevailing thereto. In concluding my observation on how the author dealt with progressive discipline, it is quite noteworthy that each topic was introduced with a general definition and understanding of the area, a detailed exploration of the subject matter, and provisions of relevant cases and statute. The analysis of progressive discipline has been so thorough and comprehensive in this book, in my respectful view, it may cause some of us to become lazy in feeling that there is no need to go further to do any research. It is akin to having a library in a book, and I mean that in all sincerity. I will now treat with maternity protection. Arguably, maternity protection is an essential element in ensuring equality of opportunity for all in the workplace. It is essentially seeks to enable women to effectively and seamlessly combine their reproductive and productive roles in our society. It also seeks to prevent an unequal distribution of income to those charged with the responsibility of nurturing the future generation. The ILO embraces this notion as Convention number 3 is among its first international standards to be adopted concerning the employment of women before and after childbirth. It is commendable that the goodly president devoted an equal depth of research and analysis on this area, maternity protection. Indeed, her opening remarks laid the foundation for the body of learning that is visited upon the reader, whoever he or she may be. Therein, she stated, I quote, "The need for society to protect pregnant working women from any harm to their health or that of their unborn child or infant is paramount. Indeed, the right for pregnant workers to have adequate time to give birth, to recover, and to ensure that they do not lose their job because of pregnancy or maternity leave cannot be overstated." And I endorse the good President's word. Indeed, her work would be worthy of commendation if this was the only paragraph she had in that section. True to her style, the author did not stop there. A historical perspective was provided beginning with the ILO Convention number 3 of 1919, Convention number 3, which set the tone and the stage for other conventions, namely Convention 103 of 1952, Convention 183 of 2000, together with the recommendation 951, all are included in this treasure trove, as I call it. The most recent Convention 183 of 2000 provides for protection of all women, regardless of occupation, employed in atypical forms of dependent work. The author explored our domestic legislation, such as Maternity Act, number 4 of 1998, and the amendments thereto. That's why I mentioned that you may find yourself becoming lazy. An elementary and insightful exploration was adopted by the author, who painstakingly addressed the intent of the Act and its limitation. This was supported by a clinical analysis of various cases dealing with the provision of the said Act. The reader is treated to healthy chunks of material facts in selective cases, giving them an insight into the background knowledge and factual matrix, which give rise to the learned principles of law. In what can only be described as a treasure trove, the book provides a compendium of maternity acts worldwide, including, though not limited, to acts from Ethiopia, Guinea, Gambia, Gabon, Libya, Madagascar. As I said, you need not go anywhere else but in this book. Given the wealth of information contained therein, the author ought to be commended for keeping the price as it is. In conclusion, I wish to echo the sentiments of learned senior counsel Sir Gilbert Peterson in the preface of the book, who stated, I quote, "This seminal work on labor law and industrial relations by Her Honour provide much needed learning and guidance in the very important areas of progressive discipline and maternity protection at the workplace. This is indeed a valuable source of to practitioners of industrial relations and human resource lawyers and every worker," unquote. For my part, I've had the pleasure and honor of not only appearing before the good President when she was a magistrate, but I worked and was trained by her for 13 years being at the magistrate court, and now 8 years at the industrial court. And may I say, for you mathematicians out there who counting the years, that the goodly President has not crossed 30 years as yet. Much has been said today and otherwise about the goodly President, and I dare say deservingly so. For my part, I seek refuge in the African proverb, which states, "The words of an intelligent woman do not lock all the doors. They leave the right door open," unquote. Madam President, I think I can speak confident for all of us here. Not only have you opened doors, you have opened the right doors, and more so the doors that led to a pathway to a more fair, just, and equitable society. And we thank you. Thank you.